And just like that, we have a pretty bulkhead. It's not finished yet.
Well, if you are new to our channel, you might not know that while Metal Boat Yard builds the hull of our new boat, we will be converting a cargo van into our home on wheels to live on it while we finish the building of our boat ourselves.
Good morning!
Good morning! The original plan today was to start with the shower cabin. We really want to start building the van by the shower cabin because it's gonna be a really complicated project. But the problem is, in order to build the shower cabin right here, we need to frame this wall. And in order to frame this wall, we need to take this bulkhead out first, because otherwise it's gonna be too complicated later. So the first step, instead of building the shower cabin, will be to take out this wall and to build a plywood bulkhead here. But now you must be wondering, why am I gonna take a bulkhead that exists? It's free, it's right there. The problem is that this bulkhead takes a lot of space. I don't know if you see, but it's sticking out a lot and it's not really necessary. Basically, we want to have one that takes less space and also is straight. It's not like with all these crazy shapes. We just want to have like a straight wall.
And prettier than this.
So now the tricky thing is, Roberta cannot help me carry weight, you know that by now. So I need to find a way to take this out and bring to the shed by myself. The problem now is that we have no idea how heavy this actually is. I don't believe it's too heavy. It seems like really thin metal. But just in case, I'm gonna leave the center one. I'm gonna take all the rest. Are you ready for this?
Yes! You're not.
No.
There is a screw here.
That's why. So we have a rivet there. And probably a rivet here somewhere.
I'm glad I saw this.
We would be here forever just trying to take the thing out and did not come. It came down really quick. That's so weird to see the van like that.
Oh,
So much bigger now. I think we can just leave like this.
I wish.
No, I mean, we could technically, but it complicates a lot for the paperwork of the van. If we close, makes our life on approving the van, homologate the van as a camper van, makes a lot easier. So we decide to have a bulkhead, but looks pretty cool actually.
How heavy it is.
I can drag, I guess. I don't know if you can see from this angle, but this boat is not aligned with this boat. And what we need to do now is to try to create a template that brings all the boats to the same distance so we can have a vertical wall. That's the tricky thing. I think we're gonna do that by using layers of plywood where the hull is far, and then I don't know, we'll see. One step at a time, baby steps.
That's the idea for now.
We kind of changed our minds, of course. I thought I was gonna do a entire frame around this flange, but I think it's gonna be too complicated, and if we need to take this apart one day, it's gonna be even worse. So the idea now is to get each one of the boats and create a piece of plywood, not as wide as this one, maybe half of the width, and we bolt in place, and then we leave the boat exposed, and we create the right height by gluing things on the side, and in this way we can try to get all the boats to the same level. Like this is almost the same level as this with the two. I think I'm not gonna explain, I'm just gonna do it and you're gonna see it because it's gonna make more sense. It's just too complicated to explain, and I don't speak properly English, you know that by now, so I'm just gonna build and it's gonna make sense then. Trust me, trust the process. Let's get going. we have all these little trims in place. As you can see, each one of the original bolts of the bulkhead have a support. Oh, by the way, the names are just to thank our new patrons and PayPal donations for the last few months that we didn't thank.
And super thanks.
And super thanks. So guys, just hug it. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the support. So the next step now is to try to figure out what's the difference of distance from this plane to this plane.
So we prepared some wood already, and we are gonna glue on the top of these ones.
And I thought that building a van would be a lot more straightforward than building a boat, that all the lines were square and everything is not really. So you need to get creative. We need to find out how far this bottom is from this top, like how aligned they are. So we create this straight edge, that is a straight edge connect to another straight edge. I don't know if you can understand. This is 90 degrees to the floor, and the way I saw that is by seeing the angle. So the floor is right now 3 degrees. This is 90 degrees to the floor, so that means that this support needs to come this way, otherwise we are not 90 degrees to the floor. And now all we need to do is to measure. How far are we? 3. That means we still need another 2 layers of 15 millimeters plywood. That's a lot. I thought it was a lot less than that. That's impressive.
My guess was correct. I said we need 5 of these ones.
And now it's time to do the rest.
We're getting there.
We'll get there eventually. I think the idea is really good. I think it's gonna work. In the end, we're gonna have a beautiful wall, but also it's a little bit more complicated than we thought. This seat is just complicated. It needs to go back. For me, that I'm a small person, it's fine. It won't go farther than this seat. But we cannot do that on a van, because if we need to sell one day and we sell to a tall person.
No, we are gonna sell one day.
Yeah, we're gonna sell one day because we're gonna go to the boat. But whenever we sell the van, we need to be able to fit a tall person. So we need to be able to slide the seat all the way back, and that means that wall needs to be a lot.
And it's the part where we are gonna have the shower cabin. So the shower cabin needs to be smaller than we were planning, at least on the top.
That's life. Happens. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Now we have 5 layers on this part.
Good morning.
The goal for today is to finally cut the shape of these 2 bulkheads. The division of this bulkhead and the future one here is exactly on the shower cabin. Lucky we didn't plan for that, but you know, the universe is in our favor. So, the way we're gonna draw this bulkhead, because it's really tricky, it's not just a square piece of plywood. There's a lot of shape. There's an angle here, there's an angle there, a round angle there. There is a lot of pieces around that we need to work our way around. And it's really hard to create a template. So the way we're gonna create a template is by using a method that a lot of boat builders use and that we have used on the past. That is using this weird tool. Yeah, I just cut this piece of plywood, and the way it works is you have a smaller template right where the new piece is gonna be, and you don't have around. So I need to draw from here now. What we do is pretty much the tip of the jig goes where I want to mark, and I draw this shape. So now when I take out, I have a weird drawing on the template. Now I repeat the same process here, for example. So after we draw all these shapes with specific points around the piece of wood we want to create, we just need to put this template on the top of a plywood, and then we just locate the jig exactly on the same drawing, and we mark little dots around the plywood, and then we can connect the dots, and just like that we have the shape we want. Of course, there's always a little bit of fixing here and there, but we are really close to reality. And now it's the time for the best or the worst part of this whole job, is to try and place and see if it fits. Wish us luck. I literally don't want to do it, but I need the best case scenario is to be.
It's a little bit too high, right?
I think we need to cut a little bit here, and we need to open this a little bit. After a few fixings, we are almost ready. It's already square if you check this. But there's one thing that we didn't think about. That is we need to open a hole here for this to slide, so.
And now that this wall is ready, we need to create the other one. And for that,
The problem is that if someone needs to drive the van and they're much taller than me, they might want to do it. And maybe even this. What do you say? I think that's enough, right?
I think so.
Yeah, but
We need space here. Otherwise there is no shower.
okay.
So yesterday we cut here to be able to fit this one when the door is closed. And Duca also sent a little bit this part so it can goes all the
See
way
better,
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Coming next.
So here we are again, trying to finish this bulkhead, and one of the problems is that this little piece from the seat belt, it touched the wall, so we router this recess on the plywood in order to have a space for the seat belt. So the next step now is to solve one of the problems. We want to have a laminated finish on this wall, and the reason for that is because we are using poplar plywood. Poplar plywood is good because it's really light, and the reason why we're using it is because of the weight, because we need to homologate the van, and in order to homologate the van we need to be under 3.5 tons in total, so it's important to use poplar. But poplar also is really soft, and anything that we hit on the wall is gonna just create a mark on the wall. So if we just paint this wall, with time it's gonna be terrible. So we're gonna use laminated, and in order to use laminated, how can we bolt a screw here and just attach the wall to the framing? It's not gonna be possible.
It is possible, but it's gonna be ugly to have exposed screws there.
Yeah, we don't want to have a laminated wall with exposed screws. In order to solve this problem, we're gonna create a support on the back of the wall that we can put the wall in place and come from behind and screw the support to the framing. So that means we have no screws on the front, we have screws on the back. And to help with the whole structure strength, we're gonna of course apply Sikaflex and glue the wall to the frame. But now you ask, why don't you just glue then? Don't even screw. The thing is, it's hard to know here in this situation how much squeeze we have on the Sikaflex, and we need to have the right amount of squeeze in order to have a structural bound. And this is a really important bulkhead for the homologation of the van. That's like the safety bulkhead that if we crash the car, everything inside won't come on the top of us. So just to play safe, we want to apply Sikaflex, and we want to screw on the right position to have the right squeeze of the Sikaflex. Make sense?
It's gonna make sense once it's done and we are gonna see what we have done, I guess.
just like magic, here's the solution. So we created these pieces that you can see. I don't know how to describe that, but that's just like a few pieces of plywood, glue and nailed together. And these pieces are gonna be glued and screwed to this wall, not to the bottom at first. So imagine that this moves with the walls. If we take the wall off, this would still be here, and this is strongly attached to this, so it's screwed and glued together. And then when we want to install the wall permanently, we just put in place. We come from behind and we can just screw this plywood to this plywood. Did it make sense?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. This one is for the top, this one's for the bottom. Now what we need to do is just to try to align as best as possible and to screw temporarily so we can go to actually the shop and do at the shop the final screw and glue up so we can do it properly. It did work. Yeah, that's half of the bulkhead. Now we need to build the second half of the bulkhead that's a lot more complicated.
Because now actually, in order to have the wall here, we need to have the floor here. That's gonna be the shower cabin floor.
Let's just think a little bit. We come back tomorrow. We decided to do a different kind of template this time, so that's the second half of the bulkhead, and we tried this other method to see which one is easier. So we pretty much got a piece of MDF we put in place. It's smaller than the plywood we need in the future, and then we got a lot of little pieces of MDF, and we literally stick to the position where the end of the plywood is gonna be, and then we keep doing this all around.
We have the template.
Now we just need to follow these dots.
So this is not gonna be a straight wall as we have the driver's seat. So we are gonna cut just the first part of the template, that's 81.1 centimeters, and then we transfer the template and we cut the next one. What's going on there?
I'm taking all this out.
Why?
Yeah, because now we are finally confident that the solution actually works. So we are confident enough to take this out and apply Sikaflex behind. But now you might wonder, why would you apply Sikaflex if you have bolts? I don't like to have just bolts because it might, with the movement of the car, when you drive, the car moves a lot, and you might get some noise from the friction of the wood on the metal, and I rather have a layer of a softer, like a flexible bound, and that means it can work, but also it won't crack, it won't like make noise. So I think it makes sense, and also because it's always safer if we glue with Sikaflex. Also, we do like to use Sika.
And also we are gonna be avoiding condensation between the metal and the wood.
In a car, it's important to always keep some kind of movement. So if we have the bolt holding in place, but the Sikaflex helping, we don't need to crack the bolt all the way to the end. We can have a flexible joint, and I think that's really important because the car moves. There is no way around that. Every time you drive, the car just, you can hear that. So I think it makes more sense, and that's what we're gonna do. So now that this is out, we can go pick up some Sika at the store. Let's come to the store.
The
with me.
store.
We have a Sika shop now. Come with me, I'm gonna show you. That's the perk of having an organized shop. Now we can come to the Sika shop and see, what do I want to use today? 714? No, it's not 714. 522, yes. Do I want white or do I want black? I think I want white. Yeah, we're not gonna see. Every time I don't see the Sika, I like to use white because there is no need for black, and I save my black for when I want to see the finishing because black finishing looks much better. So I think I'm gonna use two of these. And also the new toy. Check this out. That's a Sika electric gun. Sika, thanks so much. That was a gift from Sika. They said you use way too much Sikaflex not to have an electric one, and now we have one.
So you need the beads. And the hand cleaner.
Yeah, the cool thing about this machine is that so you're applying, and whenever you stop, it goes back a little bit in order to take the pressure out and stop the second. That's really good, helps a lot. Before you ask why don't you use the electrical drill, it's because I don't have the adapter yet. Unfortunately, it's gonna take a while. Where is the secret? No secret anymore.
And the smell is good. It smells like orange.
I'm never gonna be the guy with black hands anymore.
How do you like the tool?
That's really good. It's much more precise. As soon as you start pressing, it's just like continuous on the same. It's really good. I really like. And if you're doing a big job, it must help a lot actually, because your hands get tired of pressing.
I'm really excited for today because today this wall is gonna gain shape.
I hope so. Now is the time for the truth. Let's see if all the measurements it did work, because everything is theoretical until you install in place. And now we're gonna try them in place. It's good. This is a tricky one. This is gonna come exactly here.
And just like that, we have a pretty bulkhead. It's not finished yet.
Calm, slow down. That's the structure of the bulkhead. It's just temporarily held in place by like 2-3 screws. And the reason for that is because we need to do all the finishings, and it's gonna be a lot more complicated than it seems to do the finishings, because we have literally 3 different locations for one bulkhead. You have the other side of this bulkhead that is the driving cabin, and in that side we're gonna have canvas. We're gonna just glue canvas to the wall to look like a car.
Fake leather.
Yeah, fake leather, just to look like the interior of a car. I think it's good. I think it's gonna work. So the reason why you have this support is first of all to give it rigidity to the bulkhead, and second because we are gonna have a trim here. We're gonna have, of course, that's not gonna look like this. We're gonna have a thin plywood coming all across from the ceiling to the wall, like a triangle shape, and then it's flat, and then we do the finishing with a good canvas that's gonna look good, and I think it's gonna be awesome. I like it. But on this side, for example, is just the entry of the van, and we don't want to have leather on the wall, so we're gonna have a plastic laminated here in a color that we chose already. That's gonna be beautiful. And then here we're gonna have the wall, a tiny wall before the door of the shower cabin. So there is still a wall that you can see there is a groove here, and this groove is to slide the wall that is gonna be the frame for the door of the shower cabin. And here, the reason why we have this angle we said before already is because the seat of the driver needs to have enough space for a big person to drive. And inside the shower cabin, here there is already an angle to make sure the water can drain easily, and we're gonna do a little cabinet here to store shampoo and soap and all these things. So inside the shower cabin is gonna be a different finishing from the outside. There is more like white. Here is a special one we're gonna see later.
Hey, you said the color. You said the color.
I said, no, that's like not white, it's kind of white. But it's gonna be like a concrete texture.
Oh, you said.
It's fine, doesn't matter. But the reason why we cannot do that yet is because when we build the floor of the shower cabin, if we do that after, the floor of the shower cabin is gonna be installed in front of this bulkhead. So that means you have a possibility of leak in between the floor and this bulkhead. Eventually, somehow water can make through. I rather make sure that doesn't happen, and the way to do that is to have the floor starting behind the bulkhead. And if we do that, that means there is no way for the water to come behind, up, back, and down and leak. So it's much more guaranteed, but there is no way we can install this bulkhead first and then the floor. We need to install the floor and then come with the bulkhead after.
So
Makes
we
sense?
need to build the floor, and
That's
we
the
are
next
gonna start it now, and we are gonna show you next week.
I hope we have something done by next week, because it makes sense in my head. It's hard to explain as usual, but trust me, just trust the, how to say?
The process.
Trust the process. Yeah, that's it. Trust the process. But we see you next week. Or maybe we're gonna go to Meta now. I'm not sure. I'm gonna show you Meta, or next week. I'm not sure. It depends if we go to Meta tomorrow to do the welding of the boat. Maybe you're gonna see some welding now. Maybe not. I'm 100% not sure. Are you ready?
You need to be
Are you
ready.